All right, we're live on YouTube. Three, two, one. Live on Facebook. Okay, we're live on X, top post. Okay. There we go. Move this over here. Move Facebook over here. Come on. Last but not least. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're live on IG. Let's start the show.
All the time alone. When I am perfectly willing to give her everything she needs. I don't care about her past. I don't care what she's been through. I just wanna feel one night with good love, baby. That's all I wanna do. So baby, if you got that feeling, well, I wanna give you that midnight healing. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Just turn the lights down low. Come right on over here to me. I know you don't want no commitments, baby. I just wanna set your body free. And I don't care what's going on.
Nice try, YouTube. Not today. All right, what's good, y'all? Hang on 1 second while I just check audio, make sure everything's good. YouTube always likes to slip a little commercial in there.
Like to make sure their monetization is on point.
They like to they're funny. They get the timing down. All right, let's see. Let me just do an audio check. Check. Oh, there we go. Shit, I'm hot. I'm a little hot. All right, there we go. All right, I think that was good. Coming in a little hot here. Check X, make sure we're good. Audio's good, everything's good. All right. Make sure that this video is not that hot here. Okay, what's good, y'all? Welcome to the Hour of Power. Tonight's guest comes. Okay, yeah, we're good. Tonight's guest comes courtesy of Steve. Steve said, Creepy Steve had mentioned to me that I need to get to know this man. Funny thing is we already had some sort of contact in Spaces, but tonight we will have. Well, I get a chance to get to meet him in person. Well, via. Well, it's funny because I'll let all the surprises come out during the show. I don't want to waste any time. I want to get started. Let me just check the time. Everything's good. Audio's good. Everything's good. All right, let me bring him on without further ado. Hang on. All right, hang on, Alex. Let me make sure. Okay. We're good? Okay, we're good everywhere. Yes. We are good everywhere. Let me make some comments. All right, what's good, y'all? What up, Big Money?
What's going on?
I see everybody out there. Okay. Got a good show going on. All right, Alex. What's up, Alex? Say hello to everybody.
Mark,
oh,
how
shit,
are you?
Alex. Oh, shit. Oh man, my bad. I apologize for that. Yeah, Alex, right? Yeah.
You're good. Yeah, man. Yeah.
What's good, Alex? Say hello to everybody.
Mark, everyone, nice to meet you all. Nice to be here. And I know what you did there. You caught yourself, right? You were like, damn, I doxed the guy. But it's okay. That's my name. It's in the name. So it's all right.
I appreciate that. Okay, Alex. All right, so I think you are, and I might have came across your project once before, right? But I think we definitely spoke and met in Spaces. But Steve said that me and you, we need to meet, and that you would be a great show. And so here we are. And without further ado, I think you are as much of a mystery to me as. As a guest comes. So, and it's funny because we live very close to each other, which we'll get to later in the show. But why don't we start off the show the way we generally do, which is this is the most generic question you're going to get on this show, which is why don't you start off by giving us a little brief introduction, a little history, introduce yourself to everybody, and why don't you take it from there? Go ahead, man.
Sure. So thank you, and thank you to Steve, first of all, right? My name is Alex Saulean. I'm new to the artist space, to the Twitter thing. I'm like really new to it, but to take it back to that, I was born in Romania, came to this country when I was about 9 years old, and I'm 38 now. So if you think about it, I'm pretty much as American as they come. But besides that, I mean, I just really took onto the culture and what really got me started on this to really take you on my journey is one of the first cultural things I've experienced in this country was the Pokemon boom, right? So if you were my age during Pokemon, that means you were right there, like 9, 10. That was our era, right? So for me, I just wanted to kind of re-encapsulate that and give that back to the people. And it was just like such a cool time. So to experience that and to be here for that was really cool. So now I'm 38, right? I'm living in New Rochelle, just moved. Um, and I know you said we're close, but we're a little distant now. We got a little more space between us, but still close relatively, right? So, um, I mean, that's pretty much the cliff notes to it, but we're gonna definitely dive a lot deeper into that within the next couple hours.
All right, very interesting. So, I now, did you ever live in the Bronx? Were you in the, did you, or just,
Yeah,
or, yeah, okay. Uh,
absolutely. I've lived in the Bronx for like 15 years of my time in America. So I've been kind of a Bronx native, if you wanna equate the majority of my time, I guess that would be my stamp.
where in New Rochelle you live?
I'm right here by New Rock, actually, right by the main street. All of the main attractions are like a block away from me, so it's perfect. I'm in the heart of New Rochelle. It's pretty good. 20 minutes from the city, and then still close enough to the Bronx where if I have to see somebody or you know, you know how that goes.
You know what I love about the Bronx? The fact that you could be like 20 minutes anywhere. 20 minutes you could be in Queens. You could be on your way to the island. 20 minutes into the city if there's no traffic. 20 minutes into Westchester. Yeah, Brooklyn's a little bit of a trip. Staten Island's a little bit of a trip, but 20 minutes to Jersey. You could be in Jersey and it's like Bronx really is this nice little central area that kind of leads you to all of these different areas. New Rock, I always loved that little. I thought they did when they redid that place, especially walking to the theater, into the theater. That whole you don't feel like you're in New York walking down that little strip, that runway there, which I think Buffalo Wings and all the theaters all the way down at the other end. You kind of feel like it's I don't know, it feels like a different world. It has such a nice feel. But you kind of walk off that strip and then you're like back to reality. But okay.
Yo, but that's the thing though, right? With New York in general, it's like it's one of those weird places like DC where you could be in a really nice area and 1 or 2 blocks, man, and you find yourself in some trouble. So, it keeps things exciting, keeps you on your toes. Got us
Much
got us young, got us real young out here.
much like New York is. Okay, so question. Let's take it back to very early beginning. So now the Pokemon thing makes a lot of sense. It had a lot of influence on you because I was flipping through a lot of the different projects and a lot of different links and sites, and I was like, man, this kind of has like this complete Pokemon feel. And now we're talking about it, and I'm like, oh, look at everything kind of makes sense. Why don't we go back to younger you, right? Why don't we talk a little bit about that? Maybe you can Romania and then moving here. I'd like to know. I'd be really interested. As far as memories go, or art wise, or project wise, influence things of that nature. I have a saying where I often say that I believe there's an artist in everyone, whether it's project, PFP project, or anything. What Yeah, why don't you take us back for a younger Alex, right? Why don't you what was that? What was it like being younger and yeah, why don't go ahead, man. Why don't you tell the story, right?
Man, it was crazy, right? Like, so being in a different country like Romania in itself would be just a different world altogether. But when I tell people the full extent, they're kind of like, wow, that's different. So my parents, they left us when we were about like 3 years old. I was three. I have two brothers. and we didn't see him again until we were about 8 due to like the visa process and immigration process in America. So honestly, that kind of made me go into a little beast mode, and I was just kind of trying to run with the older kids and have fun and be bad. I mean, I was just a bad kid, to be honest. I don't know if it was the environment or that specific situation that kind of made me just be like that, but I had a great upbringing. Like I had a great grandparents who took care of me. Um, it's not like we were really poor, right? Like we were doing well, but I guess I was just maybe trying to spaz out from the situation, react to it or something. But um, that's the craziness of living in Romania for me. And as far as being an artist back then, um, I don't quite recall have any kind of memories of being an artist or wanting to make art. I was just really wanting to play sports and be outside, and I was active in that sense.
Okay. Romania, as a younger kid, right? Too. What I'm a big fan of Romania. It seems like everybody I've met from Romania, I love. And the women are beautiful. What do you have a lot of memories, or like, I mean, it's nine should have been a decent
I
amount.
do.
Go ahead, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
I have such vivid memories that when I even tell my mother about some of this stuff, she's just like, she can't understand how I could remember some of this stuff, even to like parking layouts and the building layouts. And yeah, I have crazy memories. I remember one time we had an earthquake, and my uncle used to work in a mill, right? He was actually fabricating knives and axes, and he made this crazy long double-sided axe, and he was a metalhead, so he put it on his dresser, right? And when the earthquake came, that thing just came toppling down. So it's an experience, the earthquakes you experience on that side of the world are just a little bit more scary than the ones we see here. The snow also, I remember that vividly. The snow we would have there is just crazy. I mean, building igloos with tables and seats in them, and it was just a different world, man. Like even the poorest of the people kind of band around each other. And when you say all the Romanians you've met or majority are good people, I think that's where like we kind of harness that from.
Okay. Um, what caused the move? What initiated the?
Well, during like back when my parents were younger, I believe before they had me even, it was bad. So communism time, I believe Ceausescu was the president. Things weren't really good there. So they tried to move to America for greener pastures, as they say, right? And that's what initiated it for them. And I mean, I thank them for it, right? As a kid, you kind of get in that resentment stage, or you left me and boohoo. But then as you get older, you got to let that go, and you have to realize that it was just for the betterment of the family and possibly for the kids to have a better life and better education and things of that nature.
Okay. Um, what was it like when you got here?
So man, the way I explain it to people, and I always try to put it in a way where you could really understand. So um, imagine just watching TV on a small little box, right? And it's like not that much detail, black and white. Then you get here and you got the IMAX, full vivid HD vision, right? Dynamic, everything saturated. Anything you want, you could get. And it would be one thing to say I moved from Eastern Europe to America, but to say you moved from Eastern Europe to New York City at like 9 years old, that is just, man, I lost my mind, and as a kid from Europe, I think I've got to experience this country like a little different from a kid's point, because my parents they kind of allowed me to do some stuff that I don't think kids here could do.
Was it the trouble part? Was it Romania? Was it New York? Was it both? Okay, so as a kid, I got into a lot of trouble myself. I had a very good upbringing as well. I wasn't a streets kid. I didn't, none of that. But let me tell you, the minute I got out the house, it was like, no holds barred, right? Like the minute the kind of, I think the saying goes, the minute they let me off the leash, it was like another, it was, I'm gonna learn about the world. As you fall in with the wrong people, the wrong crew type, wrong influence type thing. But what was the trouble? Romania, was the trouble more New York?
I mean, honestly, it was both trouble, man. To be honest, my brother at the time, he's an engineer now, so you would have never saw that coming, right? Robotics engineer. But as a kid, he was 4 years older than me, so he had older friends. These kids were like hooligans. When you hear the word hooligan, you know what I'm talking about. These kids smoking cigarettes. They shouldn't even smoke them, right? Drinking, doing all this stuff. So I'm seeing what they're doing, and I'm thinking it's kind of cool, right? Like they got the girls around them. And I think I was more attracted to like the bad culture, And then when I came to America, it was that times 1,000. So it was how hard is that for a kid to want to do good when it's like the cool thing is to do bad stuff. I got caught into that, and I wasn't necessarily bad because when I went to school, I was great, right? But I just didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to hang out.
I was gonna say, and so much more trouble in of all places too, New York, right? It's just complete, absolute circus. I would imagine more than leaving Romania, and you end up in New York. Did you move to the Bronx right away?
No, we moved to Manhattan. We were lucky enough that
Oh wow.
one of my relatives kind of owned this building on 72nd, kind of like slumlord kind of spot, and it was five of us actually living in the studio. So it was tough. It was tough for the beginning. But from there, I mean, being in Manhattan is no different, right? Because you have your zone schools and things like that. So you might get caught up regardless. Like the way the school system works in America is kind of, not so smart. Be locking kids into their zone schools, they're guaranteed to get stuck into that, so-called uh system or like, so it's hard.
So transitioning to America, why don't you talk a little bit about that as far as the memories? I mean, the school system. Did you didn't? I'm gonna imagine that you did not speak English when you first moved here, and that can't be the easiest thing, right? I would imagine you only
I
spoke.
spoke English.
Oh yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, we were because it took so long for us to get to America that whole time prepping up to it, we were all kind of just learning English, and we had accents, so you know how that goes. Kids with accents in school, American kids like to be bullies, and until they get hands put on them. And it's like when I went to school in Romania, I could fight you, and the teachers wouldn't do a damn thing. They don't care. Streets, the same thing. So when I saw that in schools, that like these kids are bullies, eventually I kind of became this bully of bullies, and I kind of liked that for a bit, and then I learned that you can't fix everybody, man, but sometimes, you need to give out some fixings.
A superhero of sorts. A lot of bullies in New York. Um, okay, so now school. What was I would imagine right around that time, grammar school would probably be ending, then high school. So how did that whole middle grade and everything go during that time period in your life?
It went kind of great actually. So when I came to this country, I was skipped 2 grades. So instead of being in I think I was like third, I was skipped to fifth grade.
Oh, wow.
And then yeah, so but then by the time I hit high school, I kind of just I lost those 2 years. I gave them back. Um, but that transition was pretty cool. That first school was was nice. They had nice kids and they had after school. They, had all of these different programs. I First time I ever saw people playing kickball, right? Imagine that, like kickball, dodgeball, baseball. I'm getting to play all this stuff. I'm like, man, I like all of it. So I kind of really liked school as a child. I didn't get to really mingle and go outside and be corrupted like just yet. But once I went to that junior high school level, oh man, that's when the upgrade came. Hey, yo, what you doing? Get over here. Look at that. Living in New York, not even the cats in your own house could get along. Like Jesus Christ.
I saw a cat. I saw a cat litter box behind you
Get
earlier
in there.
when we were testing. I was going to ask you about you. You have one cat,
Two.
two. Okay, I got you. They're getting into. I know cats. Okay, so high school, right? Moving on. Any existence of art, or you just still into the sports, or is that kind of like when you met the I'm gonna say the end because usually high school for me was like a circus. You know, that's when I met. I went to Iona Prep, and that was kind of like the first time I was. It's strange. I feel like the year that we were in, you would think that they collected some of the worst troublemakers in existence and put them all into one year together. And that's kind of where the trouble started. But I'm curious to hear your story. Go ahead, man.
Hold on, give me a second. Let me get the kitty out of here. So yeah, the high school for me is when you're right. Actually, that's when I kind of did get into art, and I think it was the extreme sport aspect. The snowboarding, skateboarding that kind of brought me into the graffiti scene, and that was my first real love for art. I think just writing and tagging up on stuff and just working on stuff in your book, and I think that's when it became a thing for me. And I actually went to a good high school, man. I went to environmental studies that was supposed to be almost specialized, but not really. But I kind of feel the same as you. We kind of managed to get the worst possible combination of just rotten apples, and we made it just terrible for everybody. I mean, you could imagine, fights in school, fights in the train. Don't come to school on this day because they're gonna catch us, and it's like, man, it was stressful. School in New York and in America, it's stressful for kids. I urge parents to really, ask your kids what's going on because sometimes they want to stay home just because they're avoiding bullies or fights and things like that, and that's a reality.
Yeah, it's I got to be honest with you. When I grew up, right, there was no camera phones. There was no, the most we had was a beeper, I think. And so you didn't have to worry about being caught on any type of video or anything, serious or the video clip showing up on, World Star, anything like that. There's a lot of room for, yeah, if anything happened, there was mostly a story and then it died out, but now I have it's got to be tough growing up, especially if you get caught in a situation where you're being picked on, and they're filming you, and then the video ends up on social media, and I feel like I guess in one sense people will adapt, right? In another sense, it's got to be tough, getting caught in the wrong situation and ending up on video, ending up on the internet, and then having to go back to school and reliving it, especially, if it ends up being a situation that just doesn't end up on your side. I couldn't imagine the mental damage, but yeah, kids were wild back in that day, things were crazy back in that time. It was like a magnet of the worst all in one classroom, and it just got crazier and crazier for those 4 years. Um, the extreme sports, the art, yeah, why don't we focus on that a little bit? Um, what was your thing? Like, what motivated you? And then obviously you started moving into the art. You mentioned tagging up and the graffitiing, which I think all of us were, doodling, and it all started with doodling in our notebooks, right? And then, yeah, but go ahead, man, fill us in.
So yeah, I started rollerblading at first, like inline skating, grinding, jumping stairs, grinding rails, doing all kinds of stuff. And I started hanging out with these older kids. We would skate the city at like all times, man, like 12 in the morning, 1 in the morning. And that kind of escalated into skateboarding. And those group of people were just like way different, the skateboarders. They got me into drinking, smoking cigarettes. And I don't want to say they got me into it, but I was definitely exposed to that. And I chose to kind of dabble in the dark arts, so to speak. And one of the kids I used to skate with, he turned out to be a famous writer. He was Faust Five, and I didn't even know. And eventually I found out, started going with him bombing in the Freedom Tunnels, and he took me all over the place, Brooklyn Banks. And as a child, to be with somebody older like that, he kind of like showed me the ropes on a lot of things, good and bad, and that's kind of how it started. And I became friends with people in high school who also had the same kind of passion. And my friend Jelani, actually, he was a beast, man. This kid could take Iron Man and, like, let's say War Machine, and mash them together. And I'm like, dude, this kid is crazy. And that's when I kind of appreciated the arts. Not that I was any good at it, but like my mind just expanded the slightest bit.
Okay. Was it strictly writing or tagging, or what did you explore even further? Was it drawing? So that was the time period where I started getting into, well, obviously spray painting, but the problem I was having is I was getting in a lot of trouble with that. So I ended up picking up an airbrush, and then airbrush actually is what got me out of a shitload of trouble, because then I started spraying at home rather than spraying all over the place. They also figured out my tag name, so it was a little difficult. Either I had to switch up a tag name, once they kind of get you figured out, it's a little difficult to keep running with the same tag name. But was there anything else, or was it just graffitiing, or like?
Yeah, at the time, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
I can't remember trying to draw. Even now, honestly, like, you know, for me to draw, it's a little bit harder for me than doing the AI stuff. But I have grown to appreciate it more, and I am doing a lot more with that. So I have the new iPad. I'm always doodling and sketching on that as well. It's just nowadays, man, the art is way different. I wish I was like a child and
Yeah, right.
kind of took that in and really learned the process and see the evolution of everything, of all the different styles. I mean, the different shading and techniques they're using now, just like, man, it's mind blowing. I don't know how they're doing it.
It's YouTube University, bro. You know, we didn't have that when we were younger, and now anything you want to learn, you go on TikTok, you go on YouTube, you watch shorts, you do anything, and then boom, you got the knowledge right at your fingertips. You could watch some of the best, and so many people are into whips. I think whips drive the internet, and so a lot of people are quick to, they want to show off their skills, and they do it through these whips. But if you find the right people with the right whips, you could learn a lot from a little 8-second, 15-second video. Almost insane how much you can learn just watching others too, right? I mean, I feel like that's the best way that I learn is through watching others. So to have the ability to jump on the internet, I think, and look up anything that you want, even your favorite artists, you could probably learn. I mean, learn fast, right? And then on top of it, you see so many different artistic styles and so many different things today that as a kid, if we came across something and we saw something that we liked, that's pretty much where our head stayed. But now you flick around and you doom scroll on TikTok or YouTube or anywhere, even Facebook. You know, and you do so many creative people. You know, so many creative things taking place. It's pretty crazy how everything is evolving. Um,
That's the biggest advancement, right? People always ask me, like, what do you think the biggest advancement? And then it's the ease of information. I mean, everything's at your fingertips. Elon's trying to put it straight in your head where you don't even have to type anything, just blink and you already got everything. So that's like by far the greatest advancement in human technology. It's just the ease of information. And remember, it's like monkey see, monkey do. And what you get taught is what you know how to do. So it's like that's why these colleges charge you money for bullshit, excuse me, bull crap, right? And it's like if you could just go to YouTube and learn it, there you go. Same thing. Because for me, I'm a visual learner. So you can say whatever you want to say to me, but eventually my head is just gonna go that way because I don't want to hear what you're saying anymore. I need to see it work, so to speak. So yeah, YouTube is like quality. Or
um,
Rumble, whatever.
are you a Rumble? I didn't know. Yeah. So, okay. Interesting. Okay. What else? Where do I want to go from here? Um, yeah, we didn't have the luxuries. I feel what you're saying. I often say to
When you
myself,
said beeper, I was started laughing because I remember having one, and I'm like, damn, this thing is so cool. Like I'm 37, about to be 38, so I'm from that time.
I
I've got phones go from big to small to now big again, right? Like people, the phase was like, oh man, I need this small little Motorola that if I flip it, it doesn't break when I touch it, and now it's like we're back to the mongoloid thing, right? So it's funny. Everything goes back. It's a cycle. It's funny to see the kids wear the stuff from the old days, big pants and stuff. It's funny to see.
I remember when I got my first. I had my first mobile phone. It was this thing that was attached to a base. I mean, this thing was, it was, it was like walking. Ever see the army movies where they're running around, where they go call the radio, call the radio. Guys got like
He's
those.
got the backpack.
Yeah, yeah, that's what that phone was like during that time period. And then I remember my favorite phone of all time was the Motorola flip phone, the Razor.
The
Um,
Razor was cool, man.
yeah,
That was a great phone. You see, they remade that, right?
yeah, with the LED screen in it. Yeah. I just remember pulling that. I still can do it. Pull it out of my pocket, flip it over, and let me tell you, that was my favorite phone.
That hit strong, man.
Right? That
It was
phone.
strong. You couldn't break it.
Oh man, that phone was it was so thin and small, and it stayed out of the way. It really felt like you had nothing in your pockets. I remember beepers. I used to have every color, and this is how crazy I was with the beepers. I had every color case. So whatever night I went out, whatever I was dressing like, I would swap. I got so good at swapping the case. It was easy. Once you get you had the torsion wrench and you open the case, and so I would have a color. If I was wearing green, I'd have fluorescent green. Yellow, I had yellow, blue, right? So, and people were like, how many beepers do you have? And I'm like, nah, I just got the cases. I used to switch the cases. Oh man, I was just talking about nostalgia right now. Um,
Nextels. Nextels or sidekicks. The sidekick was crazy,
I
man.
never
That
had
was
a
to me,
sidekick.
that was the coolest flip phone ever. Is the sidekick.
I never had a sidekick. I knew people. I never had the sidekick, but I knew a lot of people who did. Then there was the oh shit, what came after the sidekick?
BlackBerry,
Yeah. The Blackberries were
BlackBerry,
huge.
Nextels.
Right. They had the little keyboards. People loved those things. My friend never let it go. I mean, he was rocking that thing until almost like 5-10 years ago. I'm like, bro, you got to switch to a regular one. And he's like, nah, this is my favorite.
I think for us laymen though, that was the first real jailbroken device was the BlackBerry, and people were doing some real crazy stuff with that. Give me a
I,
second, I need to find my charger.
um. Okay. So it's funny times. All right. So the time period of high school, college. Were you more into art, or at that time? I don't even know. Did you college was in your path? Well, where'd you go from there?
Unfortunately, man, I kind of just branched off straight into work and I became a union guy and I've been one ever since. I make good money, get good 401k, nice vacation time, good benefits. I mean, I'm like a fat pig, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to get out of that and I've been doing a bunch of different stuff. And it's been like 4 years now since I started with the art, to be honest. And I don't even know. It started with a shroom trip, man. Like I took this shroom and I was in Atlantic City and that just opened my eyes. Like I was watching these birds, they would fly into the ocean, right? Into this thick fog and they never come back out, right? And then it was just like the craziest thing to me. I don't know what happened to me that night, but I started looking at some of these open sea collections and I started seeing these little monsters and I said, man, if they could create this and do all of that, and I said, why not? Let me see if I could do it. And that's kind of how it all started, man, for me. Like the first beginning concept was just that night, and it is crazy to think what psychedelics could do to you. A lot of people talk bad about them, and whatever people's personal opinion are. I'm not here to debate that, but you could definitely come out with a different mind state on the other end of that, whether good or bad. And I think we could agree on that.
So funny that you bring this up. Best I always refer back to this. It was like a pre-Burning Man in New Jersey, and I went with a friend who was very experienced, and he was like, I don't know, some guy was walking around selling blue caps, right? And I didn't even know what that was at the time. And so my friend's working out the deal. He's like, all right, we're going to go half and half, right? All right, half and half. And he's like, you ever do shrooms before? I'm like, nah. He's like, okay, I'll set you up. Let's get you. So we had tents. It was a cool little event in New Jersey. They call it a pre-Burning Man. There's the main Burning Man, and then these were like the Burning Mans towards the Burning Man. And so it took place on a beach in Jersey. I'm trying to remember the name of the beach. It's not coming to me. But it's on the bend. You can see the whole city, the cityscape. And looking across the way, I remember sitting there, and he's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to go into the tent. You're going to be alone. You're going to take this much. And, as I followed his suggestions, I did what he did. And I remember being in the tent, and I remember it hitting. And he's like, all right, so I'm going to only check on you. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to give you a bad trip. But I remember coming out of that tent like Superman, and it's like I saw all the answers in that tent. And then I came out of the tent. And I'll never forget that I seen some girl hula hooping, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna go shoot her. And I went down to the water, and it's funny because the video that the little montage scene that I ended up doing with her, is still on YouTube. And I'll never forget that because I found like I certainly do believe in microdosing. That I think can really open up your mind in a different direction. But what takes place during the cycle, if you don't fight it and you allow, it accesses certain parts of your mind that like, I believe it's like almost like a confidence building moment in your life, right? where I feel like I had this moment where it was telling me like, look, you're on the right direction, but you got to hit the gas and be confident about this movement and get back to it. And it was at a time in my life where I was really questioning a lot of shit. And it kind of pointed me in the right direction. And I'll never forget that. It was like the most eye-opening experience that I ever had. And I'm a big firm believer of natural. And so shrooms and things of this nature that come from the planet. I don't think there's any, it's drugs. Like that's not the, Indians, right? The peyote and just all sorts of different things where they would have trips and they would get what they need to do. Because I do believe we're all tapped into a what's the word I'm looking for? We're all tapped into a what's intelligence, like a
Consciousness.
yes, thank you. We're all tapped into like a main consciousness, where I used to tell people when I used to do photography, right? When I used to shoot, I used to get visions of photos, visions of images, and I would have no idea where these images came from, and like I would just, okay, I need to shoot this, right? This is what I need to do. This image would come to me. Then I would create the image. I would capture the image. I would put the image up on the internet, and like crazy things happened. Like just the work experience, just things started, and I was just following these images that I was getting in my head. And then years later, I used to think, like, where did I get these images from? Oh, you just created them. I'm like, nah, this is way beyond creative, right? And then a higher intelligence. That's what I was looking for. There's a higher intelligence that I feel like we all tap into that, and I don't know, I manifest.
The quantum entanglement.
Just
Something.
We're grabbing information from somewhere.
The thing is, man, is like we're allowed, we should have that, but your everyday life
Right,
and the
yeah.
ingestion of the bad food and all the bullshit, right?
Shit.
You need a reset, and the microdose kind of lets all that other stuff go, right? And you get the reassurance, and and then, man, not all trips are good trips, right? And then you get enlightenment sometimes in other ways, where I've taken shrooms and I've sat there crying like a baby, like, because I'm realizing certain things and speaking with certain people, and you get to a different place, and you kind of understand each other differently, and the emotional connections between people, it's just crazy what this thing could do. And I'm big on holistic too,
Yes.
Holistic is the way. So my mom is big on that stuff, Reiki and all of that kind of stuff, like spiritual healing and Tai Chi and things like that.
I'm a firm believer in meditation. I believe so. Water fasting. Water fasting will
3-day fasting is the best. I do 3-day fast every other month.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I try to have my wife doing now. No sugars, nothing that causes inflammation. If you look back in the days, right? I mean, just look, why is meat the most expensive thing there is, right? Because that's like one of the things that you really need, right? And then they want you to eat all this other. I'm not going to get into the science and the dietary stuff. I'm not a dietitian, but there's certain things that when you look at it, you kind of have to wonder for yourself, right? Like the most expensive things are like, the stuff that's supposed to be bad for you, but then they're super expensive. It makes no sense when you're talking about food wise,
Crazy, because let me tell you, I am. This show could easily. I have a saying during this show: less about me, more about you. This show could easily go quickly to a
somewhere else.
Oh yeah. I could talk health, and I could talk. I mean, oh my God, I could talk about pine pollen, borax. I could talk about. Let me go get my notepad, and I'll take you on I'm a firm believer in clean, right? I think the best thing you could do when you eat clean, and you mix clean with water fasts, and you mix that with taking care of your body, exercise. You put you
Bro,
are on
you
another.
sleep like 4 hours a day. You sleep four
Yeah,
hours a day. And if you really want to stuff your face, you can stuff your face, right? It's just at a point you don't need to eat anymore. You really feel full, and people don't really know the feeling of that because they're used to always needing that sugar, right? They need those carbs. Like your body's really running off carbs while other people are running off like proteins,
right, right. And you don't really realize um, how little you do need to eat to survive each day, unless you're working out or unless you're in the gym mode and you're burning calories. And a lot of these are calories in, calories out type thing.
Most of these dudes don't need to eat shit, bro. You could eat a cashew and a piece of ice for the work you're doing. You're like half a man.
Right.
When I'm in the gym, dude, I'm putting on 2 plates by myself, at least 2 plates, and people always look at me like, "Yo, this dude's a monster." Like, at my best shape, I'm about 135 to 145. I try to be on UFC fight night ready all day, right? Lean and strong as shit. Like, and that's my thing. Like, people always gonna look at you and think whatever. So I'd rather be small, agile, and real strong. Like, people don't get it. Like, you could be big, bro. That's fine. Be big. See where that gets you. And the crazy part is
Speed.
when you do it right at 135, 145, dude, I look massive. I look massive compared to people in the street. And then, like, when I talk about civilians, dude, I don't even want to talk to you. You're a civilian, dude. You understand what that means? Get away from me.
So I often when I was on my journey learning, I often refer to what a lot of people don't Bruce Lee. So I used to be very heavy. Shit, we got to focus on you. But
Nah, bro, this is where the conversation goes. Like this, you wanted to get to know me. This is the shit talking. And we're two New Yorkers. We might as well should have a beer and a smoke.
it's fucking crazy right now because I would have never expected this because I never have these conversations with it. Usually we're focused on the art, but I was 265. I blew out both my knees. I had a patella tendon. I had ACL, and my doctor would be like, "Hey, you're a little overweight." So eventually I had to fix my weight. I had a lot of weight problems back when I was 35. And right around 35, I said, that's it. Something's wrong because I'm an animal in the gym. And then I ended up being all about food. Everything that I was eating was incorrect. And I didn't understand how the body functioned. I didn't understand how everything worked. And then, the more and more I studied, the more and more I listened, the more and more I tried different things, read, watched the internet. Now all this information's flooding on the internet. I was able to drop 100 pounds fast. And I said, holy shit, man, I'm going to be like, I think I was 158. And I'm usually 265, right? I'm like 158. Wow. This is nuts. Everybody's like, you're disappearing. Everybody thought I was sick, right?
That's what they all say when they can't do it. That's what they all told me. Oh man. And then them same people, when they come touch your arm and your back, they go, oh shit. Yeah, I'm hench. I'm hench. I'm not like sickly like you thought.
Yeah,
And that's big congratulations to you, man. That's huge. I commend you for that. That shit starts here, bro. Like all that reading and stuff, that goes, it doesn't matter, right? It's here, bro. People need to work their mind, all your muscles and all your body and stuff. That stuff means nothing, man. If up here, you don't got it here, you don't got it anywhere. Remember that.
You have to visually see it. You have to, and willpower, and you got to tell. So you got to tell yourself, listen, this is how it works. Now, Bruce Lee, because it started bothering me. I was getting too thin. I said, who's 5'7"? Who's 5'8"? 5'7", 5'8", 5'8". So, all right, Eminem is 5'8", 5'9". Bruce Lee was 5'8". And I don't know if you remember what Bruce Lee looked like. That guy was shredded. He was 142. 142.
Right.
And he moved up to 148. And he felt like he lost speed because he had too much muscle. And he had found more power. He was looking for more power. Then he went back down because he lost.
Power is speed. A lot of people don't realize that, right?
Yes.
I could take a car and hit you with it with 2 miles per hour. I could hit you with that car doing a hundred, you're done, So it's speed. A lot of guys like to get all big and stuff. That's not where power comes from.
Yes,
Power doesn't
100%.
come from there.
Speed is the answer to everything. And a lot of people don't, I prefer speed over anything. Okay. Let's get,
Pardon me for walking away. These cats they're gonna be the death of me.
it's all right. It's all right. Don't take it personal. Because I might have to get up to let somebody in and out as well. Okay. So, union. What union?
32B, 32BJ.
Oh, is electrical plumbing?
That's the residential union.
Okay. What
Building workers.
what's your trade?
We don't really have a trade, man. At first, I started as a. Oh my goodness, look at this one jumping on the fridge. I started as a concierge, being at the desk. So it just first started as a favor from my father,
Okay.
who worked in the building, and I kind of fell in love with the money, man. I was able to like buy cars and stuff my first year, and just making good money, looking at all my friends doing nothing. So I kind of just stayed doing that, and I'm like, I'm almost at the top of what you could have pay wise. The only thing stopping us from going up more is just the contracts. Give me a second. Hey, get down from there, man. Why you gotta be bad girl? Why you gotta be a bad girl? Come here. Now, come on. Let's show you off on stream.
Cause,
Let's show you off.
Cause they
Let's
know
show you off.
your attention is elsewhere. So
Go,
it's
go, go. Get out
it's
of here. Go, go.
they know that it's time to they know you're not paying attention, so it's like free for all. Okay, so how'd you find out about NFTs?
Crypto. So 2019, 2021, that was my first introduction to the whole bull run, right? Cycle aspect of crypto. All I knew about it before was just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that was it, right? But that's not even the surface, right? This is that's
Yeah.
just like gust of wind, right? That so once I really started delving deep, I started getting into the shit coins and the trading, and eventually it led me to NFTs, and I kind of just been buying them ever since and not selling them. That's the thing I have a problem doing. I buy them and I don't sell them.
Okay, interesting. So the 2019. So I started trading crypto and shitcoins back in 2017 and 18, 19. 19, I completely shut everything down. 19, 20, 21, I was, what's the best way to say it? In my mind, I probably thought I was saving America. That was, yeah, that was probably what was going on during that time period. And then right around 2021, I landed myself on Twitter, not for good reasons, completely wrong reasons. Just as I started landing on people's threads, doing a lot of talking, a lot of arguing. And then all of a sudden, this guy Beeple made a sale, and that news rocked Twitter. I was never a Twitter guy, but then Twitter kind of struck me as this place where a lot of misinformation was coming from. And that really bothered me. And so I thought it was my job to go into Twitter and start, ending this misinformation that was floating around. And the people made a sale, and then I got so into it. I said, "Who's this guy? People, $69 million for a JPEG." And then that's what is this NFT stuff? I ended up in Spaces, and then that's how the journey began. And started learning about rugging and all this. Everybody's talking about rugs. I'm like, why are they all talking about rugs? And it's a whole new universe, whole new thing. And then 2021 is like kind of when I got my feet in the door. But I was with PFP projects. Everything was PFP. I didn't know about the art yet. I knew art existed. I knew it was out there. I didn't know where it was. I didn't know who was selling it. I didn't understand about it. And I was in spaces, and all anybody ever was talking about during that time period. Because if you go back and you check 2021, that's when all the projects were going crazy. That's when Bored Apes was nuts, Doodles, Pudgy Penguins. There's a time.
Visible Friends.
Yeah. There was a time period, right? If you look at all of the projects that are successful today, and you go back to the launch date, the day they first posted their 10K project or whatever, how many 1,000K projects, they all launched during this very specific time period where everything was selling. Now, if you were in 2019, then you remember 2020, 2021. 2020,
Bull run was crazy back then, man. That
crazy.
was the bull run. This bull run here, it's not started yet. In my opinion, we're still like, people are getting shaken out pretty bad. I mean, they're smacking the Sonic tokens out of you guys. Just that's what they're doing to some of you guys. But I think it's gonna happen again, and then we're just kind of seeing a new definition and a new rebranding of the NFT and what the social outlook is, right? I mean, people have been kind of fooled, right? Where they're buying a hype, right? If we know art, especially the art that's appreciated, the artist and the art wasn't really appreciated until the person died, and that's where the value came from, right? So we have a lot of these people who are pure degenerates treating art as speculative items, and when said item doesn't do well, they call it a scam and a rug. And it's like, it's only a rug because you bought something that you yourself didn't want, right? And that's the first part with NFTs is if you buy one, treat it as any other art. You make sure you want it and you want to keep it and display it, right? So if the artist for some reason can keep up with the project, guess what? You like the art, so now it's cheaper, so you could buy more, right? So just, think about what you're doing here. And there's different NFTs for different things. I'm sure you could find some to pump your bags with, and there's some that you might like to look at. So treat them accordingly, because they're not all the same.
Everything was buying during that
King,
time.
come in.
Everything was selling during that time period. It was crazy during that time period, because you could throw anything up during that time period and it would sell. But it was mostly PFP projects that people were going crazy over. And then, I learned about the art as the bear market hit. Things kind of like bottomed out. A lot of people disappeared. And the only people that seemed to remain were the artists, and people creating art, selling art. The projects that had established themselves did very well at that time period. But people were buying everything because they saw that phenomenon of flipping. And so they didn't know what was going to be worth. Artists, that's, and then unfortunately, the
The
truth is,
casino was open.
yeah, right. The only thing the casino did not favor was the artists, I felt like, right? Because PFP projects.
Never, man. I got to meet at NFT NYC, right? I can't remember his name. I have to look through my Twitter, but this guy's responsible for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and most people don't even know who he is or what he even looks like. So when I saw him there, I knew exactly who he was, and he's like, bro, that like means a lot because people don't really know. Like the artist gets like, I don't want to say it because it sounds messed up, but like it's kind of like a sweatshop, man. Like they put these dudes in the back where they don't get no play, no attention.
Right.
They're kept as minuscule as possible because God forbid they get some attention, right? So they're just pretty much workers for the bigger company. So it's the same thing in NFTs. The problem with artists too is that sometimes they don't have a clear sense of what it takes, and it's not just drawing, right? Like you have to become a salesperson. You have to become a people's person. You got to become all these people and wear all these
Marketing.
hats. And
Yeah.
yeah, you have to know how to commingle and get along with people, and you can't be shelled up, right? You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's kind of what it takes, really. So unless you're willing to pay somebody to do that, it's kind of hard. And even if you do have that, right, we kind of still need that universal luck and that timing, and just be positive and manifest. Manifestation can work as well.
Uh, I was say the perfect and most beautiful blend could possibly be. I'd say it all the time. If we could, if investors treated, meme coins, and if investors treated artists like they did meme coins, right? And it's because I felt like the money moved from PFP projects straight to meme coins, right? And if let's say you looked at an artist like you looked at a meme coin, right? And then the value, but the problem I see is that there's artists' art doesn't have that flippable value like a project that blows. Even though, like you said, the casino was open, wouldn't it be great if the casino was, the
But what
artist,
makes the project blow all the time? This is the problem I'm having with
right?
my brand in specific, right? I mean, let's take it there. So, um, we've built something that is specific to an ecosystem where we've allowed people to not only take place in the story and the evolutions, but before even all of that, we allow people to pick their favorites and really be true maximalists. If you say you like Richard Hart and you like the incentive token or you like the hex token, we gave you the opportunity to pick your sides, right? And at the end of the day, this was all just for the love of the ecosystem, everything Richard Hart. And it's still, Kitty, don't go up there. Wow. Okay. I'm not gonna touch that. You could stay up there, I guess. Um, Jumped on the kitchen counters, man, all the way on top. That's beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just don't understand what people really want or what it takes to make it go to that next level. And maybe it's just I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know what other people's journeys are. So this was my first year, but I don't know what the other people's first year were like, pre-production and all of that. So some people's journey could have been just as long, if not longer. It's just to us from the outside, it seems like, oh, they just kind of blew up, right? But some of these projects, man, their art takes a long time to get done. So we'd probably be surprised at how much time and effort goes into some of this stuff.
You don't even know. I always have a saying that, behind the scenes, there's a reason for everything. People only really kind of hear the headline of the success, right? But you don't really know what takes place behind the scenes until you really get the full story. I mean, most people heard on one end, right? Most people heard, oh, Beeple, $69 million sale, right? But nobody ever heard about the 15 years worth of art, the 5,000 dailies, how the sale was for 5,000 different pieces of art, and how he was at it and had a fan base on IG of 1 million plus. He had garnered that that traction and that support, where people loved the guy and they loved his art. And so when he had made the transition to NFTs, he had a big supportive fan base. So within that transition, one of the millions that he had following him could have very well, who knows, maybe they bought ETH or BT. Maybe they bought ETH back when it was, a fraction of a cent, which made the sale of his art nothing. Maybe somebody looks at it like a wash, like, hey, I invested $1,000 back when ETH was 0.0001 cent, And so this sale ain't nothing for me, or this buy ain't nothing for me. But you don't really know the guy with the banana and the tape, right? It's a 6 million, 6.3 million dollar sale, right? You don't really know, but there's stories on what caused these sales. There's stories behind the Bored Apes. There's stories behind Azuki, behind Doodles. There's stories behind the success. Everybody just sees the success, and then, oh, I could do it, I could do it, I could do it. But like you said, there's alignment, there's the right people, the right contacts, the right time, the right place, and then bringing it all together. And like you said, manifestation as well. You have to believe that this is going to work. It would be a beautiful thing if somehow we could get the meme coin investors and the artists. Well, it'd be nice if the meme coin people focused on the artists the way they do meme coins. But you know, it's. I think the truth is that and if you could track an artist like you could track a coin, let's say an artist had charts, you know, that would make an art, like, now you are responsible for your own career. So everything that an artist does, whether it's a new post, a new collection, a new exhibit, this would raise obviously the value of the artist, which would then bring the value of which would make ultimately the artist's artworks flippable, right? Because that's what the allure is of the meme coins, of the PFPs. It was the fact that you could purchase 3 or 4 at $1, but maybe 3 weeks later you could flip them for $4,000, $5,000, depending upon if anything caught traction or got heat. But that doesn't happen with the artists. It takes a very long time for an artist to establish, and it's almost, I was an artist, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, shit, I need a PFP project too. So you wander into the NFTs. Now you're seeing everything. You've been here because you've been doing some trading, and now you're seeing how everything's moving. Now you decide to get into this whole thing. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. So it's like a dual-sided question because it got me into learning AI and how to prompt AI and all of these different programs. And eventually I got to it and I said, you know what, I'm going to make a collection. And I actually made the collection, spreadsheeted it, everything, original one of ones. Everything in the collection is individual. There's not one that's the same to another. So it's 2,000 individual one of one NFTs with names, descriptions, and all kinds of traits. And it's funny because we were sitting around waiting for it to come around, right? We're waiting for that cycle, we're waiting for the bull run. And in the process of waiting for it, we kind of just sat on it and we watched the 404 contract come out. And we thought, you know what, like let's try to see if we spot a trend and run with it. And that's where the 404 monsters came. And we try to utilize the contract in a different way where we could use it almost like a break, right? So you pull in a pack, now you're getting random cards. Same thing here. You know, you're buying one of the currency and that automatically mints you an NFT in your wallet. And that was the cool gamification. And that's how we came up with that. You know, we kind of wanted to just not rush to market, but we wanted to kind of spot a new trend coming out with the smart contract. And honestly, man, like tapping into what you said about having the NFT collection that's tied to money or some kind of value, where that's the 404 contract. You know, you have a direct chart that shows you the volume and all the sales from the beginning to end. And that unfortunately is just the one side, which is the token side. But then you could also go to the marketplaces and see what the NFT side sold for. So now we have a dual market, right? So it's pretty cool where you could see one thing sell as the token side for, let's say, the highest we went up to was $60, I believe, from 5 cents. And then we've had cards sell for like $200. You know, we've had monsters sell for over $100 a piece. And if you think about Pokemon, when they first came out, they weren't selling their cards for a lot of money until years and years went by. So the fact that we were doing that within that first year of launch is pretty sick to me, man. And like you said, if we could only treat the art like the tokens, then maybe there'll be some appreciation for this stuff. But people have to really enjoy what they're looking at and like it. So the problem is nowadays is too many people like things based off perception, right? So they think that guy likes it, so now they like it. And it's some real corny, like, keeping up with the Joneses kind of energy going on.
Why don't you want to talk a little bit about the contract and the project?
Sure, yeah. So the 404 contract is essentially your ERC 721 and your ERC 20 token combined. So now when you have this contract, naturally on the NFT side, you need a launch pad, right? With this contract, you don't no longer need that. You just mint it straight from what's it called, from an exchange. So in our case, we have PulseX, right? We have 9inch, and people go there and from the contract, you paste it in there, you put in your Pulse chain, you exchange it. As soon as you buy one whole Fafman, which is the currency side of the NFT, when you buy one, it automatically just sends you an NFT to your wallet. Now, what makes us special is we don't have just one piece or three pieces of art. We have multiple monsters who have evolutions, right? And these monsters have now evolved 5 times, no, 4 times, right? They're up to stage 5. And we wanted to give people that variety and that gamification, right? So I think this is like something that's never been done before, not only contract wise, but art wise as well. Like even if you look back at Pokemon, once again, most of their monsters evolve 2 times, 3 times, and that's it. And we wanted to just give people more interactivity. So when you think what makes a good NFT community, right, and how do you build community? By interaction and having people have fun and keep them coming back, right? So you want to always stay relevant, but you don't want to pull away from the whole collection. And I feel like we've done that, not only with the 404 monsters, but with our secondary collection as well. And that's called the the monster stuff. So this is anything that's not monsters is going to be in this contract. And what we've done with this is we've allowed the trainers to be staked without actually staking anything. So they're liquidly staked. If we look through your wallets, we see you're holding, you get airdrops. Now, if you get multiple airdrops and multiple wallets, we've done it where if you collect all of them, now you earn even an extra airdrop, which we consider legendary. And this kind of stuff gives you uh, specific rights to different mints, and you get to go first or you pay cheaper. And we've also had the merch side of things where we came out with custom limited edition pins, and usually you know how that goes. People give you the 30% discount. Oh my God. No, like we paid for everything and we gave it to people for free. And all we asked is that they pay their own shipping, which I think is fair, to be honest. What do you think? It's pretty fair, right?
Sounds very fair, actually. Very generous.
Oh,
As
well, let me grab one while you keep going.
I
Let me bring one.
what I didn't even. It's 10:20 already. Holy shit. That might have been the fastest show I've ever done. Where
Talk
does
too much, man.
where does the time go? You know what? I'm gonna while you get that card, I'm gonna move over to the computer and let me let's bring this up so we could talk about this a little bit. Let's bring up some of these links.
Oh, the light.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Come on, focus in. Focus in there. You got to put. Sometimes you got to put your hand behind it. There you go. A little
This
further.
the lighting
Little.
shit.
Nah, wait. Little further back.
Further back.
Right there. Right there. Okay. So those are the pins.
Yep.
All
These
right.
are the pins. And these are the creepy Steve cards.
Shout out to Creepy Steve.
You know,
who's
he did his
he's
thing.
it's funny. We did his show about I think I want to say about maybe a half a year ago, and he was he was talking about his love, and he I think he just had gotten the approval for the Garbage Pail Kids, and to think how big were those Garbage Pail Kids when we were younger. And
Oh my
to
God.
the fact that now he is creating those cards himself, mind
Oh,
blowing, right?
I mean, how crazy is that, dude? Like, I've known Steve now for maybe like 3 years, and it started with the whole Spaces thing. So I met the guy in Spaces, and I've gotten to see the evolution of even him, man. And that's a cool thing to where I could say, like, all right, one of my friends is like a one of one sketch card artist, and he works for all these crazy companies. Like, he works for Tops. Like, that's pretty much like the pinnacle of trading cards, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like I get to work with this guy. He designed my cards. Like, you know, he did my cards. Like, look at this. You know, Steve did his thing. Like, and to say that I have something that I've collaborated with him on, and to see how good it's done is just it's a beautiful thing, man. Art is cool. It brings the right people together.
You know, I've said it many times in spaces. I'm going to start moving these screens around and we're going to bring up your page. But I've said it many times in spaces. What's up, guys? I see all you guys in the box. Hang on. I'm going to say hello to everybody. I see that Alex has his finger on the pulse. Well, I do talk to you. I was going to ask you, what's up, Josh? What's up, FOMO? What's up, guys? Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. See all you guys over there. What's up, Alicia? See you guys on IG. All right. All right. Everybody's tuning in. So Alex, it's a now let me see if I get everything right. It's on Pulse Chain. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why
That's
why
correct.
why Pulse Chain?
All right, so at the time, right? Well, first of all, I like Richard Hart, man. This guy is like a marketing genius. He's already proved it with Hex that he's made millionaires. Smart guy. If you watched him on YouTube and seen him kind of just debate people and just speak upon crypto and the market and things like that, he's very smart gentleman. Um, and he came out with this thing called Pulse Chain, right? And at the time, before it came out, there was no base network, and there weren't these layer ones, right? So essentially, Pulse Chain is a copy, a fork of Ethereum, and it's meant to be faster and cheaper, and it's done that. But within the waiting period, we didn't have base, we didn't have all these other networks. So for me, when we started building, we just kind of kept building towards the end game, right? We said we're going to go to Pulse Chain. That's where we wanted to go. It's supposed to be the network for free speech and freedom and all these things. And I figured there would be a lot of builders, and there are that, and that's kind of why we came here. And will it be the best decision for us? You know, time will tell. But so far, we've done 1,000x, and it's a dead network. So, and I mean that all in the best of ways, right? Like we're so early that it's dead, right? It's just a bunch of builders together, which is a very good thing. So, yeah, it's been exciting to say the least, and that pretty much sums it up why we came here and not anywhere else.
Interesting. I feel like when it was ETH, it was a packed house, right? And then after ETH, then I think Tezos existed. I'm a big fan of Object. I think that's one of the better, or if not one of the best marketplaces out there. But then, it quietly sat there and grew and stayed. Say Object makes it through the storm, man. But then Solana, right? Avalanche. Um, and, now you're starting to see the bloom of all these marketplaces. And whatever's left, between Rodeo and, Arena, I feel like there's so many things coming online right now that the ecosystem has been so thinned out. where when it was so condensed and in a few spots, everybody was everybody. But then, everybody wanted to run towards a new site to see if it would work for them. Well, we'll see what works for you.
Well, it has to be like that, right, Mark? Because if not, then when mass adoption comes, you're gonna pay $1 million per Bitcoin, and then you won't be able to have jack shit because Ethereum's gonna be $100,000, and Solana's gonna now be $50,000. So if we don't spread it thin and make more stuff for people to buy, there's gonna be a supply and demand problem, And this is kind of how, to me, the way I see it is that's the base. The further if we're gonna just further dilute it and get further into it, this allows for certain people to go to certain places. So now you're gonna think of different networks for different things, right? Right now we haven't achieved that yet. We're still kind of a smorgasbord where everything does everything, but I'm sure certain places are gonna just develop certain niches that they're good at, right? So if you want to go to NFTs, it might be Solana, it might be this. You want to go to shit coins, it might not be that, right? So I think we're going to start seeing them kind of get their own identities, so to speak.
Well, interesting that you say that, right? Ape Chain is focusing on one-of-one art with physicals. That's the only thing they said they wanted to focus on. Anything sold on Ape Chain was a one-to-one work of art that also comes with a physical. And so that was their main focus. That's where their focus is. And I guess that's what their niche is going to be, which I think that's a great niche to have.
Awesome.
Right? In this
The best thing to know is what you want, right? Like what you really want to do. Like that's what I said earlier, right? I wish as a child, I really developed the thought of what I wanted to do, right? That I could spend my time doing, right? And I think that is first, that's where it starts. You have to have the concept, and it has to be so cohesive that moving forward, it doesn't matter because you really want that, and I think that's important. They really kind of define themselves, and that's what you need to do first before you do the work. So, hats off to those guys.
Alex, I have next to you your page, and then I also have 405. Wow, man, that's a good graphic up top. Who did that? Good job on that graphic, on that banner.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, shit, yeah. Good job with that. Okay. So you had mentioned the Pokemon influence, right? But why don't you take us through a tour of everything that you've been creating? You tell me what to bring up first, and I will bring it up.
And all right, cool. So go back to that one right here, to the 404 mon with the mountain banner. That's actually the MP4. So
okay.
The one with the animated banner, pull that up.
Okay. Yeah, good job on these graphics, man.
Thank you.
Is it did you is this you?
The banner,
Yeah.
I didn't create that. My dollars created that. So
okay. Well, let me tell you something. Dollars well spent.
I mean, sometimes you gotta outsource, man, and then rather to try to take that that learning curve. Sometimes you want to do everything yourself, but you really can't.
Yeah, that's every penny paid off there. Let me tell you, that's the first thing that caught my attention. So yeah, man, take us through a little tour of these of what's going on here.
Sure. So if you look, right, each of these monsters, they have a different color palette, right? So these represent the different tokens that Richard Hart has put out, right? So if you look at the all green monster there, it's on your right underneath. So the second row, first guy, right? If you look at that guy, he's an incentive monster, and that's meant to represent the incentive token. So, right, we look into that. It tells you everything about it. It tells you the traits, right? So you got the name, that's Troll, stage 1 incentive type monster, right? And he's of the Troll family. And this is just one of the examples of how cool the concept was from the beginning. And when you asked us why we didn't go anywhere, well, This is why, is because our ecosystem allowed us to create these different types and not just use the, you know, mundane, overly done, you know, fire types and all of these. And not to say there's anything wrong with that, but I thought we gave it an extra level of personalization here. So if we look, let's see, go back to all of the monsters once again.
How come Fex is not for sale? I got this right? Yeah, how come this guy's not for sale?
Oh man,
Is this the
Fex is not for sale because this is one of the ones that holds a high rarity.
it looks it.
And
It looks it.
yep, yep. And if you look at the token ID, right? So if you look next to the contract address, you will see a number. So if you look even all the way to the left, the first monster, Torn is actually the token number one. So the reason why that's not for sale is because Mr. who holds these is seems to be a smart guy actually, because the way 404 contracts work is when you sell your token, the art goes back into the wild, and that token ID for that certain monster now goes away. So this person has actually held since the mint, since it actually released. So touche to this guy for not burning the token IDs. If you look, it goes 1, 2, 3, 108. So look at the difference between mints, right? Like this guy was lucky enough to get 3, and then he couldn't get any more because look at it. People are just selling, and I'm just assuming that the same wallet owns them, but that also could not be true.
The artwork too is fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Like that's one of the things that I really wanted to give people. I wanted to make it make sense. You know how the kids say nowadays, make it make sense, yo. Right? So that's what I did. I made it make sense. Like when I looked at it, I said, dude, this stuff needs to be cohesive. It needs to look beautiful. Like you can't this and that's the only way it was gonna work. The problem with that is, right? And I've never lied or never, held this as a secret, but these are all AI generated. And if you ask me, it's actually harder to generate this stuff with AI than it is for an artist to draw it. I'm almost sure of it. Because an artist could come up with anything on paper that he sees up here, right? He or she. So to get the AI to kind of behave properly is different. You have more of a collaborative effort, whereas opposed to like the artist could really just do what he does because he could see it in his head and put it to paper. So I mean that's my opinion too. I could be seeing this the wrong way.
What type of learning curve for you was there when it came? Like, what type of time was involved? How long did the collection take? You mentioned that they're all one of ones. What yeah, I'm curious about.
No, these aren't the one of ones. So the collection that I first originally came out with,
Right.
those are the one of ones, and I'm still sitting on those. So when that
Oh,
drop, people don't know yet, but I don't even know yet, to be honest.
okay. So what type of time did it take to put something like this together, especially with the learning curve with AI?
That's a great question, actually. Thank you. It took about a month. I want to say a month between the actual concept as far as before the art even came into place. We kind of had to get an idea of how we're going to make it work, right? So once we figured out the different types and things of that nature, then the art came into play, and that by itself was about 3 weeks to a month. And when I mean that, I mean I slept, ate, and breathed. I was breathing monsters. I mean, I'm going to work generating on 2 phones. I had both of my phones. I'm generating. One phone would stop working because I'm doing so much. I got to do the other one now. Thank God I got it. And it was a lot, man. No sleep, poor eating habits, and that's pretty much how it went down. I think if I had to add a real time frame of how long something like this might have taken without AI, I'd say this would have taken somebody easily a year or two. Like, you know what I mean? And that would be with multiple artists. I mean, I'm the only person that touched these prompts and touched these monsters. So to say that it took a month of nonstop grinding is like an understatement.
They all have the same style, so it had to be the same person, you know. Um, FOMO Baggins said AI is like herding cats.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
uh,
Yeah.
Cats are very, very frustrating. So now these are the guys that you said evolved. That this is with the Pokemon influence, I would imagine, correct?
Yep, yep. Check your DMs real quick. I sent you a chart of the current evolutions all in one place. So when
Okay.
you open this up, you should be able to see each monster and each of its evolution so far, and then you see all of them together like that. It's more
Gotcha.
cool.
Hang on, let's bring this over on the main. Okay. All right, guys, this is what he had sent me. And this is the map of the evolution.
Yes, sir. And that shows you each branch, like each specific token or family style. It shows you all of the different monsters and their evolutions.
Okay. Uh, Okay, let's take a look at this. Stage one. Oh, okay, okay. Now, question. You could own each, there's one for each evolution that takes place, correct?
Absolutely, yep.
Now, can you put these, like, how does it work? Do you put them together? Do they evolve and then you burn? Or, like, do they always,
So
how
the
does,
way they evolve is we couldn't renounce ownership of the smart contract, and this is because we need to interact with it to make it change the way it does. So we change all of the metadata, and within the contract itself, there's a cute little piece of code there that makes it random. So it's actually about 49%. So between stage 1 through 4, we gave a 49% chance of evolution. So, you know, your monster had 49%. When we were done with our evolution, we would urge people to go back to their wallets, and that's when you could see if they've evolved or not. Could we have made them all evolve? Sure, but what's the fun in that, right? I mean, if they all go to stage 5, then we'll have no variety in the marketplaces. We probably won't even remember what they look like, and there would be no stage 1 through 4, right? Wouldn't you want to see all of them together on the marketplace? Like, right? It's the
uh,
way we thought.
I see what you mean now with the different color coding systems. Okay. So, yeah, you got to have patience with me because this is the first time I've ever seen anything on Pulse. I have never
No problem.
seen, yeah, so I'm a little new to all of this, trying to figure out how it works, especially on the blockchain and with where now are I
No
probably
problem, man. This is for us. This is one of the cool things about being early to 404s and treating it the way we done is even once we educate on the contract, it's like our collection itself is so like busy in a good way that we kind of need a little explanation. So when people ask us for like an elevator pitch, I'm like, dude, fuck off. Like I can't give you an elevator pitch because this is not that kind of brand. Like it's not that kind of project. We're not here for a short time. You know, we're here for a long fucking time. You know, when kids go, oh, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Get out of here, stupid.
I this is the first time I'm looking at Pulse Chain with the transaction details, token transfers. Oh, okay. All right, so this is all new to me. Uh but clearly, so that's why I'm like a blind
No
man at a, I'm
problem.
like a blind man at an orgy right now. I'm trying to feel my way around.
Be
Yeah.
careful, you might feel something you don't want to feel. Be careful, Mark. Be careful.
So I'm just poking around. Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
just poking
no
around.
pun. Diddy, take it easy, Diddy.
This is yeah. Put the oil away.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
So yeah, excellent job on the artwork. Great layout. Just the whole Pulse market is a very new thing for my eyes, so I'm a little unfamiliar. But yeah, just I'm
Unfamiliar is good, you know. Sometimes we need unfamiliar. Unfamiliar is great, actually.
it's funny because I was saying to myself, I don't know nothing about this dude. I don't know if he's an artist. He looks like he's got a project. I guess we're gonna find out tonight, all on the fly. You know, most people I listen to in spaces, or I'm talking to, or I get a chance to look at their pages. But you, it was just like, I think this is a project. I think he's got a project. So, how we do? Question: how are you doing on the sales?
I mean, bro, it's up and down, you know. The problem with like the problem with it is the good thing about it, right? So the 404 contract is a double-edged sword, right? I mean, you have people coming in the project who treat it as a speculatory item, and they're free to do that. So we don't really like, you know, am I upset when people sell it? Sure. What I would rather our people be at like back at $60 where we were. Sure, right? But this kind of just evens it out, and it kind of releases some of those high stage monsters back into the wild, as we say. So it allows for people to come into the ecosystem, appreciate it at a cheaper cost, get you more of them, and then possibly get you higher level ones, you know, because we've had some people just hoarding monsters. And like I said, we came out at 5 cents. So the fact that we're sitting at $5 right now, that's still 100x, right? So as far as NFTs goes, that's pretty damn good, especially when we're talking about a network that pretty much nobody knows about. So
Right.
imagine when adoption comes. And could I say one cool thing? We just beat the SEC. We just beat the SEC. Our our founder just was in court with the SEC, and the court was bye bye, dismissed, dismissed. So we could only go up from here. You know,
Okay.
we could only go up from here.
Okay. So I have a couple more links here. I okay. Now, I don't. Do we want to? Want to make sure I get all this right. The 404 Mon. Is this? Do we want to go to this next? Is this the official
Sure, yeah, yeah.
website? Yeah, yeah.
So this is long story short there, man, like the people who run Pulse Market, they were supposed to change our banner for us and stuff, and they kind of never did. So it's kind of just like a headache of what stuff is on this page. But when you look at the name of it, it'll tell you what it is. So if you look right at the name of the contract is Mon Stuff, so monster stuff. And this is where exactly what it sounds like, where the stuff goes, right? So if you look here, these have been certain things that we've given the people, or we've implemented burn to mint mechanics, which makes our product also deflationary, right? So people could take their monster and they could trade it to the contract, which in turn burns it forever. And when I say that, I don't mean it burns the art. I mean it burns the token associated with that. So we're lowering the token the token amount, the full token amount. So, you know, to be deflationary is a great thing, in my opinion.
Question. Help me understand this a little.
Sure.
You mentioned earlier about how you color coded towards different. Did I have this right? Different coins,
Tokens. Yep.
tokens, right?
Yep.
Is this the PLS Hex Inc.
Yep.
PLSX? These are the different. Okay, interesting. So, do I have this right? These guys are sitting on different chains.
No, they're all on Pulse Chain.
They're
They're
all
all on the Pulse Chain network.
but they just represent the hex. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. So we encapsulated the whole ecosystem in our blockchain, you know. So this blockchain hosts the incentive token and PLSX. All these tokens are here. The only one that's not here is Hex, and that's the Ethereum side of Hex. So if you look at one of the types, you have P Hex, which is Pulse Hex.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about Pulse Chain is before it came out, there was a snapshot taken where anything that you had in your wallets, it was copied over one-to-one to the Pulse Chain network. So you've been around here for a while, right, Mark? I suggest all your Ethereum addresses, you go pop them into the Pulse Chain network and see what you got there.
So I didn't know Heart. This is Pulse Chain is Heart's thing.
Yep. It's
Okay.
Richard Hart's network. It's his
Now,
blockchain.
okay. So now I know the connection. I remember I used to follow him. I used to always used to pay attention to him. But I didn't know Pulse and him were I didn't know. Now you're making that connection for me. I didn't know about that.
He's been inactive too since the whole SEC thing. Like it's been a long time since he's been on even Twitter. Like yeah, he posts out some stuff, but he used to be on YouTube all the time, man, live on Twitter and the spaces, and it's been a while, man. We kind of need Papa Rich back, you know.
Now, this is the guy with the alligator shoes and matching alligator, right? I got the right guy. And
Absolutely.
he have the plaid suit on with like the okay. I want
With
to
the outrage marketing, outrage marketing guy, and he gets it, bro. Because if people still remember that, then that shit worked. Because that's why he got all that dumb shit for. Like he used to be on YouTube talking about it. Like, yo, if people come in here and talk about my clothes and shit, he's like, that means it worked. Like it works. Like he shows you how it works. Like I daily see it. Like you know,
That's crazy that you just said that right now. Because the one thing I remembered about that guy was the just his outfits, and I'm like, this guy's like he's like
obnoxious. He's a dick. Yeah, he could be a dick. Yeah, yep.
I said this guy's really out
But then
there.
you hear him talk. If you hear him talk on YouTube, man, and some of the debates he has with dudes, he's like us, bro. That dude's pretty damn freaking tough. Like he comes from the streets too, man. Like I was surprised when I first heard him talk like that. I'm like, whoa, my man Rich, yo, Rich is hood. Like he got some hood in him, a lot of hood. Richard Schuler is a bad boy. That's a bad boy.
I heard him in a space. I used to listen to him in spaces, and he was extremely smart. And he got into it with somebody, and it was the only one message I ever sent to him. I was like, "Yo, good job on that debate. Yeah, you really put that dude in his place. Like you could tell he knows what he's talking about when he speaks."
He's a real smart man. Like he knows about this development stuff and the code and being safe and all of that. And it's like, yo, people really like bid into like the marketing side really hard, you know, because they really can't paint a worse picture of him than they do. And for me, it's like he's such a genius, even in the marketing aspect of things. I mean, if you look, the man, instead of paying the company X amount of dollars to do who the fuck knows what, because with marketing, we never know of if the work is really done and if it works, right? So until it's done, you never know if it's going to garnish anything or if there's any customer acquisition. But one thing I could tell you what his thing did is it brought in a hell of a lot of people because they hate him or whatever, right? But they still came. And when he's ready to get rid of all this stuff, people are going to buy it for auction. It's Richard Hart. Are you crazy? All this stuff is going to sell for like 100x. This guy is like too smart, like in many different ways.
Okay. Yeah, he was smart. Just listening to him speak in spaces, he was super smart. I mean, I could probably show you the DM now. It was my one message to him. I'm like, bro,
I'm jealous. I was never around those days, man, when he was in spaces. Like I heard that he used to be in spaces, and I used to just watch his YouTube stuff, you know. But that's cool, man.
He used to take on the whole fucking crowd. Like people definitely had issues with him, but if you had a brain in your head and you listened to him speak, Guy knew what the fuck he was saying. Like he knew what he was
Eh,
talking about.
The thing with Richard, he's not always a dick too, right? Like if you come at him a certain way and you're smart and you're having a decent debate conversation, not an argument. Like I've seen him have respect for people too. Like that guy is not always just like the axe bearer, so to speak.
Okay. Next.
So
Got
go
a,
down real quick on
oh,
that same screen you're on. If you look at to the right, if you go to the bottom, there's this picture that shows kind of like a puzzle, right? That shows beautifully of the whole 404 concept where it's like non-fungible and then fungible, right? So like your token, you could have pieces, right? So you could you could have fractional ownership of a token, right? But the NFT, you could have never had fractional ownership. You need the whole thing, right? Now you could buy over a period of time, you could buy more and more and more. And now you've accumulated one whole NFT. So it's kind of like a layaway program for NFTs.
you want to touch on the tokenomics at all, or
The tokenomics, man, this is something that shit, man, you're gonna make me get the professor on this. Tokenomics is more the professor. He's more of the guy for that, but I could try to go on deck screener real quick and pull something out my
no.
beard.
I didn't know if there was anything. We don't have to distract. You don't have to worry about that. I just didn't know if there's anything you wanted to touch on that. Um,
The tokenomics is here, man. We put everything on. Excuse me. Where's trying to find our. Sorry, give me a second.
that's
I
all right.
remember we had the tokenomics in the deck screener.
Wrapped
All
pulse.
right, so max circulating supply of Fofmon is 55.55. 80% of the supply is in V2 liquidity. 18% is in thick one-sided V3 liquidity. 1% was put aside for marketing and airdrops, and 1% also went to the team, which that 1% has already been allocated back into airdrops and giveaways. So we really didn't get shit. Yeah, man, we don't have any like crazy amounts of tokens allocated to us. It's only two-man team, and that's pretty much the tokenomics. There's only 55.55. So once that's up, that's pretty much done.
Okay. I got another thing going on here. I got another link from you.
Yeah.
I have the 404 Mon NFC, uh, the Mon stuff
Yep.
collection, right? Maybe you want to talk about, is this a collection now, or is this
Yeah, so
assets?
this is the one that so basically like what's the hardest part about NFTs, right? And NFT companies is you want to have a lot of content, but you don't want to pull away from your original collection. So let's say something like let's say Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Like they kind of just did the cheap way and they said we're gonna make mutant apes. So it's like, all right, they just took the same ape and drew something over it, which could have been a hit or miss, right? Like you could pull away from the same art by doing that. So what we did is we found ways to give back and keep people entertained and getting stuff and doing cool collaborations with other brands. And we didn't pull away from the original monsters, right? Like the monsters we created, those are untouched. We're never gonna like mess with those. Will we have expansions later of other monsters? What if, right? That's what we like to say. What if? But as far as this, we try to create a collection that could be anything, and it could be rewards, it could be burn to mint mechanics, right? So when we first came out with 404 Mon, they came out in these 404 balls, right? And before they even had a color to them, they were just these black and white balls. And the first evolution to the art, to the metadata, was going from the white and black ball to now you have your color coded ball. And you knew, okay, this was an incentive 404 ball, or this was a P hex 404 ball, right? And once those things opened up and they revealed the monsters, the community kind of just wanted those balls back. Pause. No Diddy, right? No Diddy. So what did we do? We made a contract where we allow people to interact with it, and we said 1-to-1, you're going to give us a monster of your choice. You're going to send it to the contract. The contract forwards it to the burn address, and we burn some of the tokens and we deflate the supply, which is like amazing, right? That's what we want. We want a way to deflate the supply and keep it fun at the same time. And that's how we came up with the Mon stuff. Then from there, we said, we want to do liquid staking. What is liquid staking, you ask? Well, that's called being staked without actually physically giving your items away, right? So you, by holding in your wallet, that's all you have to do. We do the hard work. We look through the blockchain. We collect all the holders and we airdrop you guys, right? So that's how the badges came to be. So if you held 5 monsters, you got the 5 badge. If you had 10, you got 10, and so on and so forth, right? And that's kind of how this collection came about. And there's different characteristics and different ways of earning some of these things. And then if you look, right, of course, we have the NFC 404 Mon collaboration, and that was between us and Creepy Steve. We allowed him to take 10 of our monsters and put that cool garbage pail style to them. And that was, again, a burn to mint mechanic where we gave people the opportunity to give us the monsters that you don't want. We'll take them back, don't worry, right? And you could burn those guys and pick up a card pack, right? Because they came in these cool digital packs. If you go down to the bottom of the page, I believe the pack art is down there somewhere. So yeah, we gave people.
I got the box and the sealed packs. Yeah.
Yep. So we wanted to give people that, and you had the option of keeping the pack sealed, right? Like if you wanted, you could keep it sealed. And what happened here with the box was this was only for people who collected the set. Like if you collected all the monsters, right, from Creepy Steve, you actually got to get that box that holds all those cards in it. So that was once again a free legendary drop that we gave to people just for random, right? Like you didn't even know that owning all these things and being a true collector was going to get you something else. And then this is something that we've always thought about, right? Like, how do we give back all the time without pulling away from the original monsters? And to be honest with you, the Mon Stuff collection has done some crazy numbers in volume. Like we were, I think, #1 on the marketplaces for like a month or two straight because of the Mon Stuff contract, so it's pretty cool, man. It's allowing us to create other cool things within the ecosystem that look, cohesive, and they share the environment and the universe, but it's just different, and we don't have to kind of like get too serious about it, like people like the pit vipers, so we make the fangs, right? Because pit vipers, so we said we got the fangs from the vipers, right? So it's like we always try to kind of pick at culture, right? Pop culture, and it's pretty easy to do with this collection.
Pretty cool. I'm looking at. I just looking at every. I gotta remember that I'm the host of the show here. As sometimes I get so just. I like to absorb, and so I had a good time.
It's all good, man. I feel like it's a lot for our collection. It's just so much. So the fact that you're kind of overwhelmed, I wouldn't have expected anything else. 2 hours is not enough time for this, to be honest.
So it's going to be interesting watching well, no pun intended, the evolution of this project, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I showed all the links. Is there anything else out there that you would like me to show them, Alex?
Sure. I mean, if you go back to the Twitter feed, you could just post them to that first pin link.
Okay.
Just check that out. That could show you guys the latest collaboration we've done, and that's with Frankie's Dinner. The guys over at Frankie's, they got a video game called Frankie's Adventure. They're live on iOS and Android. And what these guys did was they created our skin for our main character, put it in their game, also created a custom background, what is it called? The platforms and the monsters to represent our brand, and they put us in their game. So if you have Android or iOS, go check that out. If you own a 404 Monsters NFT, you go in the game, connect your wallet, you get your skin, boom, right? If that wasn't cool enough, they held a tournament which gave away prizes, and course, we took care of people with the digital, the physical. We gave away all of that. But if that wasn't enough, we also made it to where anybody who participated within the tournament was put into this, once again, kind of a proof of work, right? So we saw the proof of work, we saw who did it, and we decided that we wanted to give people back, right? So people say utility. It seems like people don't really care about utility, so we gotta like bribe you guys to work a little bit.
Let's play this. You're talking about the 11-second video of Frankie's Adventure, correct? All right,
Yes, sir.
hang on 1 second. Let me play this for them. All right, pretty cool. Yeah, things are moving along nicely. Well, interesting because you came in during a time where PFP projects were hot. Obviously, they had a lot of influence on you. It seems like you got that. You mentioned it earlier. That Pokemon influence is clearly present amongst this project, which I think does nothing but benefit you because it brings hang on, familiarity, familiarity to your project, and so this will catch attention and catch eyes. Question. Oh, and FOMO also said also multimedia music NFT coming.
Yep.
Let me okay, that's far over. Question. How about the future? What we got to look forward to? Are we gonna have a card set, a physical card set in the future? You mentioned merchandise. Yeah, tell me about some of the stuff that's happening, or I should say the future plan.
I mean, this is, we're gonna wrap it up to where we started. Um, to make sure you're a real brand, you want to be cohesive, right? And then from there, it's pretty much easy pickings. It's just quality control issues, right? But I feel like our collection, our concept is just it's so good at a base level that we could take this wherever we want. You said a whole full set of trading cards? Hell yeah. So I'll tell you straight up right now, a little bit of alpha. We're going to finish evolutions. After evolutions are finished, we're going to fully redo the monster's metadata. By that, I mean hit points, attacks, things like that. Fully fleshed out characters. And then we go into production of trading cards and things like that. The trading cards, it needs to be a game. And for it to be a game, these monsters really need to live, and they need to be individuals within their base movements and their hit points and things like that. So we need to go back to the drawing board a bit, but now the good thing about it is we have a community of trainers who's going to help us with that. So as we started as two people creating, we now have many. So the creative process will be shortened by a lot.
Well, will the opportunity one day come where I can, what is it? No, VR? VR? No. Augmented reality, AR, right? AR isn't right? Isn't that's it, right? AR
Yeah,
isn't that where I'm
yep.
running around and I'm throwing the balls and catching?
You never know. What if, as they say,
What?
that's what we say all the time, and we like to under promise and over deliver. So the way we do that is we kind of just tease at the what if aspect of things. Is that possible? What if? We don't like to say yes or no, but anything's really possible. We just don't like to put our foot in our mouth. So we just go, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's the New York thing. Like, whatever. Neither a yes or a no. It's
We'll
not a
see. We'll see.
confirmation or denial.
I like. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah,
We'll
same
see.
thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's a big maybe.
We'll stay tuned. We'll see. Keep an eye out. I'll let you know.
Pay attention. Pay attention, man.
Okay. All right. So Alex, okay. Why don't you tell everybody the best way to hang on, let me before we say this, and start closing out. We're at about 2 hours right now. Is there anything else you want me to show?
That's it, man. I feel like we've had a wonderful conversation. It went deeper into just monsters and NFTs. We kind of understand each other. We're gonna have to go get a drink now and some food for sure.
I've been telling Steve that we have to meet, and for the
Yeah, but fuck that. Steve has to come to the Bronx, man. I'm tired of these Brooklyn fucks making me go to Brooklyn. That shit takes forever, bro. It takes
it
forever.
does take
Just to get
forever.
from Brooklyn
Brooklyn
to
is
Brooklyn
terrible.
takes
It's
forever. Like
terrible.
to get from Brooklyn to
Oh my
Brooklyn
God.
should not take 2 hours, man. I'm good. I don't want to go
Brooklyn
there.
and
You gotta come
Staten
to us.
Island will take half your day away just going over there. You got to time it perfectly. You're
It's
right.
worse than Long Island,
It's
dude. I'd rather
terrible.
go to Long Island. At least they got Jones Beach there. There's something to see there. Like if I get stuck in Long Island, at least there's a nice beach there. If I get stuck in Brooklyn, there's nothing there. Good pizza, I guess. Good food. Good food. I'll bring that back. Get the good food.
Okay. Alex, everybody wants to reach out to you, contact you guys. What's the best way to do that? Follow you. Now I understand why you said the Instagram is more of your. And we didn't even touch on any of the
That's my
motocross.
past life, man. That's my past life. The stupid stuff I do in the streets, on the bikes and the cars and the street racing, and that's like a past life. You wouldn't even know it's me, right? Like my face is not on that account, so I could tell you that's my account, but only like forensic scientists will be able to prove or deny that.
Well, yeah, we didn't even get to touch on any of that yet, but that'll be great for an update show.
Absolutely.
And now I know the type of trouble you're talking about. What is the best way for someone to reach out and contact you? And yeah, how do they find you? How do they follow more of the project? I got your Twitter page up, but why don't you give it to them anyway?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me at Alex Saulean on Twitter, or you can follow us in the Telegram. Just pull up in the Telegram. We like to call it the Trainergram, and it's t.me/FOFMON. Once you come into there, you'll see, man, we're like a very close community. We all know each other. We all bust jokes. We crack each other's balls all the time or whatever. But it's all good, man. This is what it is. Like, we've built a very good community of people, and this is what I want people to experience. When you come in, you'll get a nice warm welcome. Any questions you got, we'll take care of it. Just pull up. That's probably the best way. Instead of coming to me specifically, I want people to come to us. Come join us. One of us, one of us, one of us. Right? Like, don't come see me. I'm tired of that shit. Come see us. Come see us. I need to share the load. Share the load.
All right, guys. So this is the Telegram address right here that he spoke about. The link can easily be found on his page. This is his page. This is his link. He has the Telegram link here. There's also a Discord link as well. And then also, this is the Pulse 404 Man page as well. So you could follow here. You could follow his personal page. And then, obviously, Telegram and Discord. And FOMO is also saying, come in, pull up a fresh monster and stay for a while.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Very good. I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to move the screens back. Give me a second, Alex, while I reset everything back to normal. And if it is a proper show, my camera should be dead, which it is. Main scene, black. There we go. Okay, cool. I'm going to switch a battery real quick. You're going to see a black screen for a second. Hang up. Your
What kind of camera are you running?
Sony AR37. I'll tell you in a second. Hang
You
on.
don't have the power supply?
No. I should, but I run on batteries. And let me tell you something. Before I brought the show over to X, it was an hour of power. That was it. If I had a guest, the guest was usually here in physical form. We would sit at a table and shoot the shit. And the show would go for more than, that'd be about an hour. I think an hour 15 was maybe at best, the length of the show. But now, ever since I started bringing all of the projects on and the artists on, an hour of power, it's become hours of power now. And sometimes 3, sometimes 4, which I would have never expected. So I never thought I needed the power supply, but no, I never picked it up. And you have to be extremely careful with these Sonys, especially they said they fixed it, but I don't think so. If you do leave it, so I have the Sony A7R3. And if you do leave it plugged in, the Sonys tend to run very hot and will overheat. I think they might have it fixed by this version, but yeah, it's I let it run out and I switched the battery. Okay, Alex, before we wrap up and we say goodnight, I always ask every guest to leave the show and leave our audience with some words of inspiration, some thoughts for everybody out there with the projects. I think we covered your project pretty well. Not only that, but I would like to dive a little bit more into your life, but maybe we'll leave that for the next show and the next update show. Before we say goodnight, maybe you could leave us with some inspirational words. Of the artists, of the projects, maybe people out there who might have not gotten to the extent of success that you have. Maybe they've given up along the way. Maybe they thought the sector was going to go dead and nothing's going to happen. There's a lot of discouraging moments out there for a lot of people. But not you. You guys are moving forward. So I think there's a lot to be inspired about. Why don't you hit them with some inspiration?
Sure. One thing I could say, man, is this will help a lot of people. Just don't take it personal. That's one thing I've learned is as an artist, as a founder, you start to take things personal when things go wrong, right? And when that happens, it kind of could push you away from continuing. So don't do that, right? Nothing's personal. Everybody's got their own stuff they're going through. So you don't know who needs to sell, who needs to whatever. It's nothing directed towards you as the artist specifically, right? Also, remember, man, it's not just about the work you put in. You got to be positive. You gotta really like live it, see it, right? Manifest it, and Also know on the end, if you don't make it, and it's okay, bro. That's okay too, right? That doesn't mean you rug pulled anybody. That doesn't mean you failed. Um, it just didn't work this time, right? Go back to the drawing board, keep trying, right? Like it's the old saying, you never know how close you were when you quit, right? Like you could have been like that one day away and you fucked up and you left and you don't leave, like, right? Like what Jordan Bradford or whatever from Wolf of Wall Street, right? He said, "I'm not fucking leaving. Don't go nowhere." That's what they want you to do. They want you to stop. If you stop, that's less competition. Don't do that, right? Like keep going, keep doing it. When you piss people off, that means you're doing the right thing. So just stick to your path and know what you're doing is your truth, right? And then once you know that, you're good, man. And like we said earlier, if you fail to see the picture sometimes, just microdose one or two and you'll be all right.
Before we leave, I'm gonna share a story with you. Have you ever heard of the story 3 Feet from Gold?
No.
Are you familiar? No, you would be familiar. Okay, so there's a book. I have the audio version. I don't know if you're into audiobooks, but the book is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it opens up with a story in the beginning called 3 Feet from Gold. And it was a story about a person who bought some property and bought some mining equipment. And he
Where this is going.
set the
He gave
mine.
up when he was 3 feet away from gold, literally.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
he
that, but that's where the meme comes from, though. So that picture that people utilize to make the point comes from the story you're talking about, actually. So it's the guy with the pickaxe trying to get to the gold, and he's like this far away, and he goes, I'm gonna take my bow and go home. Well, you know what? Go home then.
So this guy spent a lot of money on mining equipment, a lot of money on the land. Heard there was gold there. Went to work, right? And so I think he did it for about a year and gave up. He had enough, gave up, sold everything for a massively cheap price to another gentleman. Another gentleman picked up everything and he said, I don't know, I've been all over this place. There's no gold here. So the guy's looking at everything, sizing up everything, the new owner, right? And he's saying, I don't know shit about gold at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a geologist, a vein expert, a vein expert. So this guy, goes to work. He's looking around. He's checking things out. And next thing you know, he says, do me a favor. He paid this guy a lot of money. He said, do me a favor. What I need you to do is I need you to take the machine. I need you to move the machine, move it over 3 feet. So 3 feet? He said, yeah, just move it over 3 feet. And what had happened is where the guy was digging, there was an earthquake. And the plates shifted and the vein cracked. And so the vein moved 3 feet over. And so he did not have the knowledge. He was not an expert when it came to anything.
Like tectonics and things like that.
So the other guy paid an expert, and he said, "All right, drill now." And so they started going back to drilling, and sure enough, they hit gold. They found the vein, and it was literally 3 feet over. And the story is called 3 Feet from Gold. And so where that guy gave up, another guy didn't. And so that reminded me of that story. And I think it would be extremely beneficial to put this audio book in your hands. So we'll talk about that behind the scenes. But I can get you that book.
I got some pins. I wanna give you some merch too. So we gotta get together soon. IRL, right? We figured something out. I'll bring you a goodie bag, as they call it.
Well, you're always welcome at the studio if you're ever cruising through the Bronx. We'll catch up. I'll get you my number. I'll text you. I'll send you my number in DMs, and that way at least we can get off of the internet and get into real life. But you're always welcome here. If not, I wouldn't mind walking around in New Rock. I haven't been there in a while, but
Pull up, man. Pull up. You're more than welcome here too,
yeah,
man. It's
you're
just
not
me and my wife.
far away at
We
all,
just
bro.
moved in.
You're right.
We
You're
just moved in, got married. So like, it's nothing but good things happening, bro. So I know it's gonna be great. And you know what they say, along with that story is also the other one, right? As a business, you're probably not fruitful for the first year. Well, guess what, fuckers? We made it past the year, so the money's gotta fucking come sooner or later, right? And the difference between me and the rest of like the most of these NFT people is they take the money and run, right? We don't have any money yet, and we built a whole lot of shit. When the money comes, oh, we're gonna build some more, and that's gonna be even more fun, right? Like if we could build all of this with a limited budget, limited team, oh, I'd be scared too if I was the rest of these people. You guys just have some bullshit ass art pictures, and it's like I don't take that away from the art within itself, but I just mean like you guys are dinosaurs in the way that art is evolving. Like if you think it's just gonna be a picture or a song or whatever, like nah, that's done. And like the professor and I have some cool things coming for people, so just definitely stick around a bit.
all right. Alex, I got one last question for you.
Uh,
Uh, the guest always picks the song that we close out on. What you got a song in mind by any chance?
sure. You know what? Let's put some Queen on, bro. Put Under Pressure on.
Okay. Under pressure. Good choice.
Yeah, because that's how diamonds become what they are, and it's through a volatile, pressure-filled market, and
I
that's
got
what we're experiencing.
I got a good saying for that too. Pressure always does one of two things. Pressure can either create a diamond or
Or
crush it.
make you fart.
Well, pressure busts pipes. So you
That's
know,
true too.
what type of when the pressure hits, you find out real quick who you are. You know. All right. Okay. Let me get focused here. I want to say um, thank you very much for coming on, spending your time, taking the time to jump on the show. I appreciate it very much. This is a new project. This is something different. Never had anything related to Pulse. So I was a little in the beginning, trying to figure out, find my way around. I want to go back and look at everything now. I find it always interesting when there's something new going on. I want to put the mic down and I just want to start clicking on everything and learning about it. But I forget that sometimes I got to host a show. So I always like checking out new projects. I appreciate you coming on, showing the project. It's been a pleasure to finally get a chance to meet you. I know we chatted in spaces before, but I want to give a shout out. Well, I'll do that afterwards. I'm finally happy to do a show and get to learn about you a little bit more, learn about this project. So I really appreciate your time for coming on the show. And, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you very much.
Likewise, dude. Thank you for having the platform and hosting people, and it was a blast, bro. Like usually you think 2 hours, you're like, fuck, that's a long
This
time,
went
right? But
fast, right?
it flew by, and yeah, man, we'll definitely catch up some more, and I definitely see us coming back and touching up on new things going on, and yeah, man, don't worry about the whole post chain thing and kind of being overwhelmed. It's kind of what we do to people, unless you're part of the ecosystem. And even if you are, you're still going to look at our stuff in specific and kind of be overwhelmed because you have different families of monsters and they evolve and then the different contract. And it's a lot of stuff, man. I don't blame anybody if they kind of get lost around the way. So once again, Mark, thank you, bro. Nice meeting you. And another thing too, like thanks for this whole experience. You helped me set up my streaming. So now I'm gonna go put my kick start my kick, start all this stuff, get the overlays going, and you taught me a couple good things today just by that setup stream. So thank you.
Yeah. Any questions you have, bro? Just let me know. I'll give you all the information that I've learned doing this. Um, I
We
always
should do a podcast together, bro,
I'm
on a
open.
different
I'm open to anything, man.
that's not like NFT related at all or none of this stuff. Like I mean like current events
Just talk.
podcast, like a real podcast, or we just sit there and talk shit about current events. Like,
Just talk
I
about.
think that'll work. Just talk about nothing, bro, and everything.
We talk about graffiti art and well shit. What was the last thing I was gonna talk about? Oh shit! I just jumped out of my head. Um, oh shit. Yeah. Well, we let's figure it out, man. I mean, let's catch up behind the scenes, like you said.
For sure, bro.
Everybody
Yep.
says it. It never happens, but let's
No,
make
it's
sure.
gonna happen because I've been trying to do a podcast, and it's like you gotta have somebody that you have good chemistry with, right? So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we can figure something out, man. It's gotta be funny. It's gotta keep going without being dragged out, right? And I feel like we kind of have that here, right? So
I love to
uh,
talk. I love to talk about hip hop. I'm a hip hop guy. I don't know if you're a hip hop guy, but
I'm a hip hop guy, but not like that deep, right? Like me and history are kind of like, but I could do some research. I'm good at doing research. So like, we pick a topic, we do some research, we come back, we talk about it. And then, that's what makes a podcast, right? Like not everybody always knows what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, look at Joe Rogan. He's the biggest flip flopper there is, and he's like got one of the biggest podcasts. This guy can't keep an opinion ever, right? Like he changes his mind. Like I hope he changes his underwears. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's fine
yeah,
to
yeah,
change your
yeah.
mind, but at least like do some research and have your own opinions before you like try to sound a certain way on the internet.
Oh wow! I never heard
I'm
anybody. I never.
gonna get in trouble, right? I'm gonna get
No,
in
no.
trouble, but it's okay.
If you go back to the very beginning of this show, when I say beginning, I don't mean our show. I mean like the 8 years I've been doing this.
Yeah,
There was a time period where I would refer to say the caveman experience. You know,
oh, the Joe Rogan experience. Yo, that dude, listen, he's smart in certain aspects and stuff, but um, I don't know. He's definitely influenced by outside parties, and you could tell when it happens,
yeah,
And he's
yeah.
also a bully. Like Joe Rogan's a fucking bully.
Yeah, you're on the money with that. I always felt that way, but you can't knock the success. Uh,
Yo, I respect his work,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean I have to like fully like love everything about the person. And that's the cool thing about it, right? Like if I'm sure if I speak to Joe and meet Joe, he's probably a great dude and there's a lot more we have in common than we
sure,
don't. And maybe he could change my mind on stuff, right? And
sure.
that's what really makes riveting hosts and conversation is people who don't get butthurt when the conversation gets a little tough, right? Like there's always an escape to that nasty environment that we put ourselves in, and that's through conversation. So like you could run away like a bitch, but like none of us will.
I never watched the Joe. I never watched the Joe Rogan episode. It's
Good for
great.
you, man. I feel like
Yeah.
I get dumber sometimes watching it, depending on who's there.
Before we get ourselves in trouble, let me hang on. Don't. I'm gonna close out the show. While I close out the show, just do me a favor. Find that track on YouTube. DM me that song. I'm gonna close out the show. I'm gonna be back in 2 minutes. Then we're gonna have you say goodnight to everybody, and then we're out of here. So, give me give me 2 minutes just to close out the show.
Or I'm like, shoot, I need to duct tape 4 cigarettes together and smoke them at the same time.
All right, guys. So you had a chance to meet Alex. That was Alex. So you got a chance to check out the project. I wanted to give a big shout out to Steve, Creepy Steve. You guys remember him? Creepy Steve had referred. He said, "You and Alex gotta meet. I think you're both in the Bronx." And so here we are. We just met. So I want to give a shout out to Creepy Steve. Thank you very much. your influence throughout the project in the NFT world is everywhere, my friend. I enjoyed tonight very much. If you guys want to learn more about the project, go back, check out the show, follow some of the links, and check out what Alex has got going on. Okay, rest of the week. Nothing on Friday yet. Wednesday, nothing on Wednesday. Our community shows are over. However, we will have a community show here and there. I think we have the why can't I think of their names? Hang on, I'll tell you what's evolving. MIDI Punks. The MIDI Punks community will be coming on. So we'll be doing a MIDI Punks community show. Not this week, next week. We also have a cat show, the Cat-tacular, Wicked's Cat-tacular. It will be a cat show with a lot of cat artists and cat projects. We're putting that together now. And so there'll be community shows and different shows every now and then, but for now, the community shows are over. We did cover all the communities of the super community. So Wednesdays we'll probably lighten the load. Spaces, only 2 spaces. Tomorrow morning, 9 to 11, I'll be with Linked by Art. My co-hosts, Shira Sketch, we will be, in that space tomorrow. Come on in with Sketch, and the Linked by Art will always be running a new art submission every week. So that should be a pretty good thing tomorrow. Spaces are usually pretty interesting on Tuesday mornings. And then, of course, on Friday, we'll see you on TGIF for with my co-host Son and Alina, which is just a Chuck chill out day. That's all. There's nothing going on. On that note, y'all, it's Monday night. Plenty of time to create art before you go to sleep. Monday nights are great nights for creating art. Matter of fact, every minute of the day is a great day, great minute to create art. So on that note, I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. I'm going to come back and give some of you guys shout outs. And I appreciate you guys for being part of the show. All right. Okay. All right, guys. I want to give a shout out to all you guys who joined the show. FOMO Baggins, thank you for dropping in and being part of the show. Josh, thank you for dropping in and being part of the show, guys. Appreciate it. We miss everybody. We get everybody. Let's go over on IG. Let's see how everybody's doing over here. Harris, CXX, Nelia, Maga, Pega, Jim, Luco, Show Off, Alicia, thank you for stopping in. Pete, thank you for stopping in. LG the Diva, Seendorf, GM, Jazzy, Fond, and Soy Mia. Thank you for stopping in, guys. Appreciate it very much. I think we got everybody covered. Yeah, we got everybody. Oh, Big Money. Thank you for stopping in. Good to see you over here on Facebook. All right, guys. On that note, let's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna bring this track up right now, and we'll bring let's see, vertical scene, right? No, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Just a heads up, you're back on screen, just so you're aware. And let's bring up this track. X. No.
You caught me eating pork rinds. How dare you?
X.com. All right, let's go get this track up. There we go. All right, let's bring this track up. Okay, guys. Under pressure coming down on me. All right, before we close out, I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. We'll bring up his work one last time. We'll bring up 404 so we could click on the we got this, we got that. All right, y'all. Let's bring this track over here. So I have that here, and then I'm going to bring up him. All right. Okay. I think we're all good to go. Yeah, let's bring this back to this screen. Perfect. Okay. On that note, y'all, I want to thank you all for joining, and I appreciate y'all. Alex, it's time to say goodnight.
Good night, guys. Thank you, everybody. Mark, thank you.
You're welcome, bro. I will see you in IRL. Ice, ice, baby.
Pressure pushing down on me, pressing down on you. No man has fall. Under pressure, the brings a building down, strips your family in two, puts people on streets. Eat it up, eat it up. That's okay. That's the terror of knowing what this world is about. Watching some good friends screaming, let me out. Tomorrow gets me higher. Pressure on people on streets. Okay. Tipping around, keep my brains round the floor. These are the days it never rains, but it falls. People on streets. People on streets. It's the terror of knowing what this world is about. Watching some good friends screaming, let me out. Tomorrow, let me high. People on streets. Turned away from it all like a blind man. Sat on the fence, but it don't work. Keep coming up with love, but it's so slashed and torn. Insanity laughs under pressure, we're breaking. Can we give ourselves one more chance? Why can't we give love that one more chance? Why can't we give love, give love, give love, give love, give love, give love, give love? 'Cause love's such an old-fashioned word, and love dares you to care for the people on the edge of the night, and love dares you to change our way of caring about ourselves. This is our last dance. This is our last dance. This is ourselves. Under pressure,
Good night, y'all.
under pressure. Pressure.
All right, guys.
Good night, y'all. That was a damn good show. See y'all on the next one.
Sound like Angry Joe. Angry Joe.
That was a damn